What is and where is conscious space? Evidence has been presented to show that the conscious mind, CM, is a separate kind of phenomenon from any other known phenomenon of science. This conscious mind phenomenon does not seem to exist in physical space, PSP, so it is therefore logical to propose that there is a place where the conscious mind exists and call it conscious space, CSP. We can only speculate about the existence of conscious space because of the existence of the conscious mind. Beyond that realization, it is not known what conscious space could be. But conscious space is not as vague as you might think when you consider it from the point of view of being the place where conscious experiences happen. This place should be very familiar and understandable to anyone that has ever had a conscious experience. So, in a way, we already know what conscious space is. We are just unable to put it into any kind of physical space context. Biological brains and physical space are not conscious in and of themselves. Consciousness does not emerge from biological brains, but rather consciousness connects to biological brains. Also, computers in physical space are not conscious in and of themselves. Consciousness does not emerge from computations, information, or complexity in physical space. Consciousness must be connected to computers in a similar way that it is connected to biological brains. Nothing in physical space has the property of consciousness. Consciousness only exists in conscious space. When consciousness connects to a physical thing, brain, computer, etc., it cannot be said that the thing has become conscious. The consciousness is still always in conscious space. There is exactly zero consciousness in physical space. It should be emphasized that conscious space is not like any kind of physical space, so it will be impossible to try to designate where it is. It might be everywhere, or it might be nowhere relative to physical space. Since conscious space is not like any physical space, we can speculate that conscious space has no dimensions of distance, location, or time. But since it is where your conscious mind is, it is where you are and where you have always been. Consciousness will appear to take on the dimensionality of the physical space it is connected to, so it will be 3D in our case. In a 4D physical space, consciousness would appear to take on a 4D character in order to connect to it. But consciousness itself is dimensionless and timeless. Consciousness is not part of physical space. Consciousness only connects with physical space. How the connection is made is not known at this time. Before the Big Bang, consciousness was there. After the Big Crunch, or other dissolution of the universe, consciousness will still be there. Consciousness is not physical and cannot be destroyed. Conscious space is indestructible, but a physical space will always get destroyed. A physical space might just be a playground for conscious minds. Conscious space is a conceptual container for the conscious mind and for conscious experience of all kinds. If no concept such as conscious space existed, then the conscious mind and conscious experience would have to awkwardly float disembodied out in physical space somehow, because they cannot be found in the physical mind, PM, which is the brain. So it is only logical to speculate that there is such a conscious space for these conscious phenomena to exist in. If someday science discovers and can explain how the conscious mind and conscious experience are completely inside the physical mind, then that would solve the hard problem of consciousness. But that day has not arrived yet. Given that there is physical space and we can conceptualize a separate conscious space, the question will arise as to how these two spaces can interact with each other. For example, the conscious mind must be able to influence the physical mind in order to implement conscious volition. And going in the other direction, the physical mind must be able to influence the conscious mind in order to implement conscious experience. This leads to the logical conclusion that there must be some kind of intermind, IM, that facilitates these interactions. This intermind must use some knowable, if not yet known, principles to make the connection. It is not known what these principles could be, but an obvious place to search for answers is through quantum mechanical principles. It can only be speculated that principles like the quantum tunneling effect and the more hypothetical quantum fluctuation phenomenon might play a role in connecting the physical mind to the conscious mind, and therefore physical space to conscious space. Maybe dark matter or dark energy, which might be related to the phenomenon of quantum fluctuations, will eventually be shown to have something to do with consciousness and the inner mind. We just do not know yet, so all options must be left on the table.